Hey there, so this is an evolution simulator I've been playing around with and working on for the last week or two. I haven't really been working on one for like a year, so I figured it'd be interesting just to take another whack at it now that I've kind of forgotten everything I did last time. A few differences between previous iterations would be that it uses modern OpenGL shaders for OpenGL 3.3 instead of the old like fixed function thing. Also, it uses a GUI library called Crazy Eddie's GUI, which I've used for all of the GUIs in the game. And finally, I have tried to, I've basically rebuilt it from scratch, trying to remove or not put in as many unnecessary features as possible, with the idea that I can get frame rates higher and maybe get evolution sometime within my lifetime. Anyway, without further ado, I'm going to try and show how this works. First, these are the creatures. Their basic anatomy right now is a circle that can have a certain color. The small line indicates the creature's movement angle, and the two longer lines indicate its two eyes. The eyes, when something intercepts them, the eye has four different variables in the creature's brain: a distance and an RG and B value, and whatever pellet is closest to the creature that also intercepts each of the eye's lines will activate and set the values for those four variables in the creature's brain. So if a pellet, for example, were to overlap the line here, there would its RGB and distance values would be accessible by the creature. So anyway, the creature has a brain that's not a neural network, because I kind of got tired of those, and instead it is a series of basically assignment operations. And every single one of these operations has a variable or an output on the left-hand side, and then two values, which are either constants, inputs, outputs, or variables on the right side, and then there's a whole slew of operations that can be done between them: addition, subtraction, multiplication, binary, and, or, not, simple assignment, greater than, less than, equivalency, inequivalency, divisions down at the bottom for some reason. Anyway, also the creature has 16 different variables. It's got, right now, most of these are unassigned, but the outputs are speed, movement angle, and speaking. The creatures can speak to each other, just like in a previous video I did. The inputs are food, hearing, and then 4 nodes for I1, 4 nodes for I2. These 4 nodes here are unused, and then there's a few unknown nodes. A lot of work to do there, but actually, let me open that back up. As you can see, right now, the creature, this checkbox, by the way, you can enable or disable certain lines, and mutations can enable or disable certain lines without removing them. Anyway, you can also see the variables will take on, you can see, actually, let me find lock camera on the creature, edit brain. If whenever the creature sees something, you will see the variables flicker on. I'm trying to, it's very brief, but as you will see from the, it must have starved to death, never mind. Alright, and that one hit the barrier. Alright. Alright, let's go look at this guy. Yeah, that's fine. His brain is pretty simple. Output speed is always a constant 1, so he's always going max speed. Variable 0 is set to the red value of whatever is being seen by his first eye, multiplied by a constant. Variable 1 is the same, but for his second eye. Variable 2 adds the values of variable 0 and 1 together. And then the movement angle is increased by that value there, which is the composite of the red values of both eyes times by a constant. So in other words, the creature's angle increases or goes counterclockwise anytime it spots a red object. Pretty simple. Also, it's worth noting that it increases for both eyes, which means that even if it had an eye on the, I was going to say left-hand side, but what I really mean is counterclockwise side, it still would increase the angle clockwise, because, the creature can't actually tell what its eyes angles are in code. It just sort of has to experiment and figure out what they are through mutations and, evolution. But the eye angles can evolve for certain creatures. For example, here's a creature with two eyes very close together. There's some creatures with eyes further apart. There's, creatures in between. That kind of stuff. Okay, so what I should probably show now is editing. Oh, by the way, the red spawner spawns pellets that have carbs and protein, and the green pellets are poison, by the way. Just figured I'd point that one out. Anyway, let's do creature, edit brain. Let's disable some lines here. What should I change his brain to do? We'll do output. One annoying thing is that you have to, once you change a box on the left-hand side of a pair of boxes, you have to save, and then you have to reopen it, and then you have to go to, you have to do this. Oh, actually I meant constant. Okay, so you have to save and reload, and only then do you get the new updated options for the right-hand box. Anyway, let's do the simplest code possible. Movement, or speed equals 1, movement equals a constant. So the angle will be a constant of 2. We'll call it 2. And basically what this means is, since upwards is 0 and downwards is pi or negative pi, 2 will be downwards and to the right. So let's see what happens. Beautiful. Yeah, wow. What a nice code. Likewise, we can set it to be a constant of 1.57 is half pi, right? So this should be almost exactly to the right. Yeah, beautiful. It should be noted also up here, step increase just makes this simulation move forward 1 frame. VSync is 60 frames per second. It just limits it to real time. Unlimited lets it run as fast as possible, and low rendering disables the rendering except for 1 frame per second, which that is what will get you the quickest results. I can get 30,000 frames per second. It's pretty nice. It depends on how many pellets and creatures you got too. What should I do here? I've done some really interesting stuff, but unfortunately every version I make of this makes previous saves incompatible with it. So I had some really interesting complex creatures I programmed myself. But for now, let's say that the speed... How do I want to do this? We'll do variable... I'll do yeah, okay. Input... Yeah, okay, I have an idea. We'll do the input is distance 1. So we're going to have the 1 minus the distance of the object seen by the first eye will be the movement speed. Yeah, that's output, movement angle, constant. Let's see what happens here. So when it sees a creature, it should go slower. The closer something gets to it, the slower it goes. Yeah, okay. Unfortunately, we need to get this creature to move the other way, or else it's gonna die. There we go. Oh, it died anyway. Well, I think you got enough of an idea. Anyway, I'm gonna turn this off for now. I'll post another video if interesting evolution actually happens.